everybody. It's Texas OU week. Let's get ready to go tomorrow. We're live at Terry Black. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Jerry Hamilton. Rod Babers back in Austin joining us as well. The Longhorns, 5-0, ranked number 1 in the country, trying to take care of business against the Sooners tomorrow, Rod and Jerry. Any last-minute thoughts that we want to put in there before they get on the field tomorrow at 2:30?
Go for it, Rod. They've heard enough from me today.
No, I mean, I think this is probably as confident as I've seen Texas Longhorn fans going into a Texas OU game probably in 20 years. Even when they shut out Oklahoma and blew them out, 49-0 a couple of years ago, the Longhorn fans still weren't sure where they were as a program, still weren't sure about Sark as a head coach. Now you have the program pretty much at one of its peaks as a program, number 1 in the country. Longhorn fans are more than confident that Sark is the guy to get the job done. And you have the Oklahoma program, although the defense is impressive, the offense is probably at one of the lowest points that we've seen an Oklahoma offense in some time. I haven't seen an Oklahoma offense this inept on offense in a long time.
Jerry, I got to tell you that the Longhorns right now are confident. We were talking to some folks in Austin yesterday, Rod, and early this morning. And I got to tell you, right now, Texas has reason to be confident, not only because they're number 1 in the country, but Quinn Ewers is back at quarterback, and Oklahoma is starting a true freshman quarterback and 11 new starters on the entire offense. Now, I talked to someone in Norman earlier today, and he said the one positive about this for OU coming into tomorrow is that for the first time this year, all 5 of their supposed starting offensive linemen, it's the healthiest they've been all season long. They, of course, have not been very good all season long, but maybe there's a silver lining for them as well. All right, before we get going, I want to say thank you to our friends here at Terry Black's. I also want to say thank you to the 40 Acres Collection, as well as the University of Texas Co-op. We're big partners with both of those entities. The University of Texas Co-op is a nonprofit that has been serving the Longhorn community since 1896. Every penny of profit directly benefits course material scholarships. In fact, more than 7,000 students receive free course material scholarships in the 23-24 academic year. 40 Acres was born inside DKR, designed and built exclusively for the University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. Go down to the University of Texas Co-op or universityoftexascoop.com and get geared up with 40 Acres apparel, great designs, fashionable, high quality, SPF, moisture wicking. It's just super good product. Looks great, feels great. 40 Acres is also a proud sponsor of the course material scholarships for the University of Texas students. A lot of people doing work for the University of Texas students, by the way. Yet this morning we were out at the golf course for the Dallas, Texas X's. More than 250 golfers, Rod, out there, and all of that proceeds benefit University of Texas students in need with scholarship funds in the Dallas area. Just a great group of people out there trying to raise funds for students to go get an education. Which I think is outstanding. I also want to mention this. I don't know if David Keith Williams is here, but we had some Terry Black's barbecue, and David Keith Williams always reminds me that when you have barbecue, you have to have Big Red. And I had some Big Red today, and I've got it here. So if David Keith Williams, you're on there, this one's for you, buddy. I was trying to keep my girlish figure with a water, but then I saw Big Red, and I said, no, got to go with it.
Hey, Rod, I got a question for you. Did you sleep well the night before this game? Like, did you get good night's sleep? Fidgety, didn't sleep? What were your thoughts sleep the night before this game up in Dallas?
Probably didn't get a ton of sleep, and it was an early kickoff a lot of the times. Of course, now there's a 2:30 kickoff, but didn't sleep a lot. I got a lot of nerves before this game. It's supposed to be, at least it was back then, and once Oklahoma established themselves with Bob Stoops in that program and Mac had, Texas football rolling, it usually was a big determining matchup for who was going to be in the basically the driver's seat for the national championship race and pretty much the elimination game for the Big 12 title, because back then you had your South and your North. and it was a lot on the line, a lot at stake. Still is a lot at stake. So no, man, I probably didn't sleep a lot. The game plan was pretty much in at that point. It was about trying to, get yourself, make sure that you were emotionally mature enough to handle. Because I think in 2000 we learned, and even in 99, I think we learned, but not as much, just how volatile the momentum swings are in this matchup, and how if you're an immature team, how the momentum and the emotion can kind of overwhelm you. That happened to us in 2000, and we were on the downside of that when Oklahoma won, 63-14. We were on the winning side of it in 99, and we were down double digits. Famous Mike Leach fake dummy script game. He drops it out there, and Tom Herman and Oscar Giles find it, and Bo Reese falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. And we ended up down double digits in that game, came back and won it. That's my only win versus Oklahoma. And then the very next year, Oklahoma just steamrolls us because we were a younger team. That was Mac implementing like his 99 class, and a lot of those young guys played. And I don't think we realized what the game was about. And 2001-02, we played a lot better. Still didn't win them, but played a lot better because we understood what the game was about. And I think before the game, it's all about, settling yourself in and understanding the magnitude of it and what's on the line and what's at stake.
I got to tell y'all, there's a little bit of news breaking today. University of Texas picks up a baseball commitment from the #1 pitcher in the country today, a young man out of the Dallas area. His name is Trey Rangel. He's out of the Colony. He visited Austin, chose Texas over Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, and many more. He is the #1 Major League Baseball pitching prospect in the country. And Blake Monroe saying that he is expected to actually attend the University of Texas. He's telling people that he's not going to go in the Major League Baseball draft. That's big news for the Texas baseball team that Blake had hinted at earlier this year, or earlier this week. Excuse me.
Texas is owning A&M on the baseball recruiting trail right now, owning them in the younger classes.
Hey, Jerry, let's talk. And Rob, we didn't get a chance to talk to you. You had actually watched a little bit of Dalen McCutcheon, the wide receiver out of Lovejoy that just committed to Texas last night. He becomes commitment number 21 for the Longhorns. Rod, you saw him whenever we did that video for his commitment. Refresh yourself a little bit and tell people what you saw out of the young man from Lovejoy.
I liked what I saw from him. I mean, this kind of fit the Sark, mode of a wide receiver, right? A guy who's got, speed, a guy who can separate, a guy who would be great on movement routes down the field. You want him, and what I love about his game also is he's got a long stride, but he's got quick feet when he needs to, whether it be as a ball carrier trying to evade a defender, or as someone trying to, separate from a defender in a route. So I like that he's got quick feet when he needs it. Got great hands too. I mean, you can see that too when he goes up and attacks the football. Great catch radius and spatial awareness in his game as a player. So I think he fits has a lot of the traits, I think, that fit a prototypical Sark receiver, and plays a little bit bigger than the size. I was actually a little surprised that, he was under 6 foot, because he looks a little bit bigger out there, plays a little bit bigger out there. So I think, he's a guy that will definitely fit the system that Sark uses and how he deploys his wide receivers. There's no doubt about that.
I'm going to bring this up real quick. Siobhan Patel, Jerry, any updates on the basketball team? I'm going to have a little special on Texas football. We'll call on Texas basketball next week to update everybody.
All right, we got a little video of Dalen McCutcheon here, Jerry. You want to tell us what you see from the newest commitment of the University of Texas?
Yeah, so just a super smooth route runner. A little bit like DeAndre Moore. He's always going to be deceptive with his speed because he's such a smooth mover. The interesting thing about his decision to flip to Texas for me, from a recruiting standpoint, was FSU was selling him. Things are going bad when the school you're committed to initially is selling you on being the guy, and you still flip to go play the DeAndre Moore role, Rod. That's when things are going bad for the Noles or a team when a kid flips. He really liked the role and kind of the vision that Chris Jackson and Steve Sarkisian set out for him, as you're watching his clips here. But I think Chris Jackson did a tremendous job recruiting Dalen McCutcheon. He has been big with Jamie French and Dalen McCutcheon this year. I think Khalil Lockett was more of the Sarkeesian with Chris Jackson recruitment. But Dalen McCutcheon, just really good ball skills. He can really track the football. That's the one thing about this wide receiver class. The 3 guys committed, they're all ball trackers. And this is a little bigger wide receiver class, Rod, than what Sark has signed with the understanding that they're now in the SEC, and you have longer limb, taller corners. So at some point you have to go for a little bit bigger wide receiver that still has as close to the skill set as you ideally want. And I would say this too, that means Texas will be going in the portal for their speed receiver this year.
Oh, good point. Yeah. I wrote about effortless athleticism, right? To your point about it being smooth. It does seem a lot of his movements are effortless, and he has a great ability to track the football on deep balls, and you can tell he does a great job stacking the DB, getting on top of them. And you can look at his hands, man. He's got some Odell Beckham Jr. catches on this thing. Oh, one-handed grabs where he snatches the football out of there. I don't know how big his hands are, but he plays like he's got big hands. Catches the football like he's got big, strong hands.
Hey, Rod, I got a question for you. While we're watching Dalen McCutcheon, as a defensive back, Oklahoma's top 5 receivers are out tomorrow. Yep. I mean, as a defensive back for you, you have to still have your heightened awareness and concentration level. You can't let it drop at all. But what's the difference you see for this Oklahoma team with their top 5 receivers out tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope that guys aren't overconfident, but I probably would be jumping some routes. I'd be really aggressive. And if I was a coach, I'd probably warn the guys, listen, I know you guys are going to be aggressive because you're looking at their 6th, 7th, and 8th best wide receivers going up against you guys. So you're probably very confident in your ability to stick to those guys in coverage. And you're probably going to you got a true freshman quarterback starting their first game in the Texas OU game, and we know how emotionally charged and overwhelming that environment can be. So the chances are a young quarterback may make some mistakes, may be a little bit hyped up in that game. Who knows how he's going to handle it? Even Brent Venable said he doesn't know how the young man's going to handle it. You just got to wait till you see him in that environment and see if he folds or if he's shaking or if he has any indecision in his game. So I'd probably be aggressive if I'm the DBs. I'd be jumping routes. I'd warn them if I'm the Texas coaches, play the upfield shoulder. If you're going to jump that out route, jump that hitch route, jump that slant, do it with the right angle toward the upfield shoulder. So when they do try to double move you, which I believe is coming, if you're smart, if you're Oklahoma, that double move's got to come in the first quarter when it matters, when Texas is going to be hyped, when they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be emotional, they're going to be thinking about making that Rod B pick 6 to the house. Yeah. That's going to be on their mind, that big play, and you can make Texas pay for some of that aggression. I want to say Texas already had a couple of flea flickers thrown against them so far this year. It's one of the only plays against a really stout defense like Texas that you think will work because it counters their aggression, right? Makes their aggression work against them. So I think a double move would do the same thing. Now you got to have time to pull that off. That's why sometimes a flea flicker may work even better than just say straight up double move. But I think you'll get the double move. And my coaching point, upfield shoulder, gentlemen, you can adjust your angles after that, but make them have to double move through you. And if you get a PI, that's fine. But if they run that out and up and that slant and go and that hitch and go, they should be running through you to do it. They should have to run right through you because you should be taking the right angle to the football. Don't undercut it. Unless you know you can get it.
One interesting thing about this game that we hadn't really talked about, this is the first time in a few years that both starting quarterbacks grew up wanting to play for the school they're actually the quarterback of. Because that's not you don't see that a lot nowadays in the portal, Bobby. But this is Michael Hawkins, whose dad played at Oklahoma and in the NFL. He's always wanted to play quarterback at Oklahoma. Quinn Ewers grew up always wanting to play quarterback at the University of Texas. That gives this game a little more meaning for me because that's just not what you see very often in college football anymore, especially in a rivalry game.
You think about it also in this regard that, Kyler Murray wanted to go to A&M, even signed with their Jalen Hurts originally signed with Alabama. Baker Mayfield was not really a fan of anybody. And so I can agree with that. There's also the added emphasis of Texas being number 1 in the country right now. That's different. I just talked to Matt earlier that we met I think he's from Hayes Country Store. He's out here. He's gone to 41 consecutive Texas OU games, Rod and Jerry. 41. His first one, Texas was ranked number 1 at. And so this one's big for him and a lot of people out there. But look, we've gone through this. There's a lot of uniqueness to this game this year. Texas clearly being number 1 is one of those. The matchup at quarterback being a guy that's a third-year starter versus starting his second game, actually. Yeah. Big difference, right? So you look at all of those things, a lot of ins and outs that we got to look at. Aaron Hahn says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I looked this up. In 5 games, Texas has driven the ball 75-plus yards 12 times for TDs, while OU has done it only 4 times. Rod, you had some stats that I thought were really impressive in that you just didn't think OU could break the big play much at all and hadn't had much success doing so at all this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, their explosive play rate, they're 130th in the country in explosive play rate. That's and if you look at 20 plus yard pass plays through the air, they only had 8 20-plus yard pass plays through the air. So they're vertically challenged. To give you some context on that, there are 6 teams who have fewer 20-plus yard pass plays in all of college football, and 2 of those are ULM and Michigan. Right? Think about how vertically challenged those offenses were. That's kind of what you're dealing with here. So they don't have a lot of explosivity in the offense to move the football that way via chunk yards. And they don't really do it via converting because they're 129th in third down conversion rate too. So I am struggling trying to figure out how they're going to move the football consistently against Texas. But that's why I think early on they'll have something to juice the offense, right? I do think they'll take some of the Mississippi State game plan and try to run the football and try to milk the clock early on, what Jeff Levy did wonderfully, actually, in the first quarter of that game, milking 7 minutes off the clock, essentially taking an entire quarter away from Texas and dictating the terms of that matchup early. But I think if you're Oklahoma, you got to get some juice early on in that offense. I think that's going to be via a trick play, double moves. I think they'll take a couple of shots downfield just to see if they can get an easy PI or get a DB with their eyes in the wrong place or an over-aggressive DB. That's the only way really I see them, gentlemen, being able to drive the football down the field. It's going to be tough, to the point that Aaron was just making.
Hey, Rod and Jerry, before we get to the next portion, which is going to be the prediction portion of this show, we want to get people's predictions in here, go over them a little bit and talk about them. I want you, Rod, if you don't mind, tell folks a little bit about one of our sponsors, Flat Creek Estate.
Yes, sir. We love Flat Creek Estate and really happy to have part of the On Texas football family. If you didn't know, and now you do, that the most awarded wine in Texas is actually the vineyard closest to Austin, Texas. That's right, folks. Flat Creek Estate Winery is just minutes from downtown Austin, and they've won award after award this year for their vintage wine, Super Texan. Super Texan is now available at your local Specs. They also have it at Central Market. I know that because I do some shopping there. We saw a beautiful display of the Flat Creek wines, and they do have my favorite, my wife's favorite, which is that Super Texan. So go check it out for yourself. Of course, Flat Creek also is a gorgeous venue with barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend. Perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with that very special significant other. Check them out online at flatcreekestate.com. That's Flat Creek Estate Winery. Thank you very much for sponsoring our Friday live stream.
All right, I'm going to go straight to it because this one is one of those predictions I personally like, and that is from Too Broke to Pay Attention. Right now, here's a bold prediction. Texas will be 10-0 within the first 5 minutes of this game. Wow. Up 10-0 within the first 5 minutes. That is the recipe for success for the Longhorns. We would all agree with that, right? Get up on top of an offense that's inexperienced and force them out of their what they want to do. Maybe make a defense a little bit more have to be perfect type of thing. What do y'all think about that? Texas gets up by 2 scores early?
Well, look, I think it's always, that's any game, but it has special added meaning when the other team's got a true freshman quarterback, the receiver core is injured, and you don't know what to expect from the offensive line. I think that makes that different than saying, hey, the Texas needs to get out early. It's different for what we're talking about here. And I've said all week, Rod, if Texas is going to get up 2 scores in this game, it's going to drastically change the way Oklahoma tries to attack offensively. Again, it's a broken record, but that Mississippi State game, Texas struggled to get Jeff Lebby out of his game plan. If Texas can get up 2 scores, I think it's going to change what the Oklahoma offense, the way they have to attack this football game. And I don't think that they want to keep it within 1 score so they can try to milk possessions and clock while still taking a shot.
Yeah, I mean, Texas hasn't ran an offensive play this year trailing. So
amazing.
So it is crazy. And honestly, the truth is, I hate to be arrogant. I don't know if I see them trailing in this game at all. That would be a shock if Texas ended up trailing because that happened all year. But to your point, I think it's going to remind me of the Michigan game plan, the strategy at least. Remember, and we talked about this, Coach Shipley and I, because Coach Shipley always believes, hey, if you win the coin toss, take the damn ball, go down there and try to score. Because scoring first matters, and it means so much in football, yet nobody tries to prioritize it. But 65% of the teams that score first, NFL and college, they win. All right, boom, scoring first. Now, it doesn't mean all the time that you win the coin toss, get the ball, and score first, but as long as you score first. But Sark, to really, I think, kind of, to me, indicate his aggression and his aggressive strategy and mentality. And Michigan game, he says it was for different reasons. He wanted the wind at his back or something like that late in the game. I know he mentioned something else, but he won the toss and took the ball. And they didn't score on that first drive, but they did they dictated the tempo and the terms of that matchup. Right. And when Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State went down and took off 7 minutes off the damn clock in the first quarter of that game, they dictated the terms of that matchup for about 2.5 quarters. Right, and dictated the tempo of it too. You don't want that and then Sark had to adjust and didn't end up playing their style of football to the fourth quarter. Then they separate from Mississippi State. You don't want that. You want Oklahoma to have to play your style of game because they can't do it. They can't keep up. To Jerry's point, they're going to have to abandon their game plan and then start throwing the football. And that's when, just like Mississippi State, when the sacks come, second half. That's when your sacks came, right? When you're up, then the complementary football element plays a role. So in this game too, you'll get those sacks and you'll get some of those splash plays when Texas can get up in the game, and then the defense can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback, because they're in a predictable passing situation most of the time. So I'm with that, man. Get up early. Especially if you win the toss, to hell with weather and wind, take the damn ball, go down and score. And be aggressive. And if you don't score, at least you'll let them know what time it is. Like, hey, we came to play today. You're going to be on your heels all day long, just so you know. Hey, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
Here, this one's for you, Rod. Texas 63, Oklahoma 14 as a prediction from Joe Z. David Parcell says OU's going to try to play keep away, run, and then run again on fourth down. That would not be surprising to us. Jerry, I had a question for you as it relates to Jackson Arnold. The Oklahoma quarterback started the first 4 games of the year, then was pulled against Tennessee. Michael Hawkins started against Auburn in the next game. Is Jackson Arnold going to play a 5th game this year and lose his red shirt potentially? Or do you think OU, if they need him, may have to go to Casey Thompson instead of Jackson Arnold?
Things can always change, but early this week I was told that the plan is Arnold's going to redshirt and hit the portal. And things can always change. These plans can change, but that is what I was told earlier this week, and that it's kind of known up in Norman right now.
I guess we'll see exactly what happens if Hawkins is needed or has to go to the bench. This one's from Shane Lawler. My bold prediction, Hawkins doesn't finish the game. Here's another bold prediction or bold question. Who scores more points tomorrow, the Oklahoma offense or the Oklahoma defense?
Come on.
What, Rod B, what do you think about that one, buddy?
Listen, that Oklahoma offense is terrible. Like I said, I am still trying. I reverse engineer all of my analysis. So I'm looking at it from the Oklahoma standpoint, looking at their strengths, looking at their identity. And since I know Texas so well, I can kind of predict how that team is going to try to attack Texas. I have no idea what Oklahoma's going to do, because offensively, they just don't do anything well. There's no strength. There's no idea. There's nothing to rely on. I think the hope is that this young man, Michael Hawkins, is just going to provide a hell of a spark. And if he doesn't, and Texas ends up getting a bench, listen, you better be ready for Casey Thompson now. You better be ready for Casey Thompson. And that is going to be something. That's my bold prediction. Casey Thompson comes off the bench, and he's going to be hyped, ready to slang it. And I still wonder, because if that young man Jackson I guess invokes his own red shirt, and you end up benching a young Michael Hawkins, or he struggles or something like that, Casey Thompson's the guy, right? He's coming off the bench. I mean, that would be, has anybody, there's no way, that would be history, right? There's nobody's ever played quarterback for both sides like that.
No. You want a bold prediction from me? No quarterback that makes the decision to play for Tom Herman twice is going to beat Texas. There's a bold prediction.
Well done.
Wow. You cut a man off at the knees, Jerry Hamilton.
And transferred from him twice.
Hey, Jeff Jeff says Anthony Hill's going to go Bobby Boucher on Michael Hawkins. Cisco Diaz with the prediction. I predict Quinn throwing for 4 touchdowns and running for 1. We also have Tyler Davis here. Isaiah Bond, 2 TDs. Team ride it with me. It's a lock. Larry Johnson says he's had it 34-17, and he's going to stay with it. That would be covering the Longhorns continue to be a 14.5-point favorite. Tedapari, Trey Weiser will do 2 of the following: rush for a TD, pass for a TD, or catch a touchdown. We talked a little bit about that. It seemed to me from listening to Sark this week that he was going to try to involve Jaden Blue early and give him a chance to redeem himself after the Mississippi State game. So while we're talking about Trey Weiser and how good he has been as a substitute in that regard and how reliable he has been, I think Jaden Blue is going to get an opportunity in this game to redeem himself. You guys agree with me on that based on what you heard from Sark this week?
100%. No doubt. And it may be in the passing game early, Rod, running game later, but no doubt about it. Look, Sark knows Jaden Blue has to have a big year for Texas to maximize this team. If he doesn't, Texas is going to struggle to maximize this team, especially with the injuries with Cedric Baxter and then the depth-wise with Christian Clark. So, no, absolutely. The key here for Jaden Blue is he doesn't try to do too much. Play within yourself. Your bounce-back game is to play within yourself. Your bounce-back game is not to try to do too much on your first couple of touches where potentially you have the same issue. Because here's the thing about Oklahoma. Those are bigger linebackers than Texas has faced this year as a whole. So those guys are going to bring a little bit more power on contact naturally. They're bigger, longer arm guys, and every backer they put out there right now is what Stutzman, 6'3", 245. Oshimoga's 6'2", 235 and can run. Kip Lewis is up to 230, 235 pounds. They're big kids that are going to hit you. You can't try to do too much. You have to play within yourself, but Sark is going to give him opportunities. I think it could be in the passing game early.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's weird to have your best game ever at Texas and then your worst game ever in back-to-back games. I don't think I can remember a player having that type of, chaotic performance. So I do think Jaden Blue's going to bounce back. I got a lot of faith in Jaden Blue, but he cannot have drops and fumbles in this game, period. Because if he does, that's going to be a focal point, and then you're starting to develop a reputation among NFL scouts who'll be watching this game. NFL scouts are watching; they're thinking that's a data point, man. You do not want on your scouting report that this guy has bad hands and he fumbles the football. Not as a running back, not at that position. So it's a big game for him because, I've been looking at it in the last 2 years. If you're looking at drops and fumbles, he's basically like every 20-something touches, touches and targets, he's got a drop and or a fumble, right? And you can't really have that as a player on your resume. So I think he will bounce back. I think Sark's going to go to him. I'll give you a stat, though. If they want to run Blue early, they need to do it out of 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. I gave this stat earlier. He's averaging less than 5 yards a carry just overall this season. But behind 1 back, 2 tight ends, 12 personnel, he's averaging 5.8 yards per carry. It's a big difference. Basically talking about almost a yard more per carry than his average when he's running behind 2 tight ends. If I was Texas, if you want to run, that's the group you run behind because that's where he's most effective.
All right. We got to talk a little bit more here. First, I want to say thank you to one of our key sponsors who's wife is a sponsor of us. He's in the crowd right now. Mike Reynolds, appreciate you coming out here. His wife, Jody Reynolds, is the Karat Concierge. Visit her at karatconcierge.com. Jody is a personal jeweler, and with an office right there in Westlake. Jody focuses on helping men purchase the special gift for the woman in your life. You can use the QR code on the screen to see even more, or visit her on Instagram or her website, thecaratconcierge.com as well. Jody prides herself in providing personal service. She takes the extra steps to make sure your lady gets exactly what she wants. And because she doesn't have the overhead of a storefront, she can often get higher quality inventory at much lower prices, as much as 30% off what you'd see at a jewelry store. If you're looking for something special for birthday, anniversary, and with Christmas right around the corner, Jody has a variety of tennis bracelets, rings, necklaces, and more, all beautiful jewelry, all personalized for you and yours. Check out thecaratconcierge.com, visit her website, or give her a call or text and take care of that someone special in your life. Mike is here, he said, on a boys' weekend. His boys are coming up as well. So we're happy to see him there. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. Hey, let's get back to it.
He's got the Texas Gooders on. I mean, he has the Texas Gooders on. That is the man right there.
This one from JJ. I know people love the OU interior defensive line. Dominic Williams, one of those that the Texas Longhorns recruited. He's actually a captain in this game, by the way, Rod and Jerry. But how good is their secondary compared to our wide receivers? I actually like and I want to say this, I like the ends for OU more than I do the interior. Am I wrong about that, guys?
No.
Yeah. So what about our wide receivers versus their secondary?
Well, Gentry Williams was a huge loss at corner. He was a projected first, second round NFL draft pick in the mocks preseason. He's their fastest defensive back in corner. He ran 10.55 in high school. Then Dolby the Cheetah is now out for the year. So they're down 2 starters from Brent Venables' perfect defense coming out to start the year in his eyes, the guys he could maximize this team with. So he's minus 2 of those guys, Rod, but Gentry Williams, the fastest corner. I think they may lack a little vertical speed with Gentry Williams out for, it looks like, the season potentially.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like the safeties, though. I still think, Billy Bowman's one of the best safeties in the country, and Spears Jennings is a really, really good player for him too, makes a lot of plays. So I think they have one of the better safety duos and tandems in all of college football. But you're right about the corners, and that's why they can be had deep, guys. Go look at the games they played against Power 5 teams, against Auburn and against U of H and against Tennessee. You're going to be shocked at how many deep balls that secondary gave up. I mean, I think they're talking about over a 65% completion on passes defended that went 20 yards or more in the air. That's a really high rate, man. Probably double the national average. That Texas can make some plays downfield if they choose to.
I gotta add this: Arkansas gave up fewer yards and points to both Tennessee and Auburn than OU did. Well, maybe Arkansas's got a better defense than expected. We'll see what that has to say. I do want to get to this, Westlake Horn. There will be better offensive talent, DeSoto versus Duncanville tonight, than what you'll see on the OU side of the ball tomorrow.
Wow.
I will say this: maybe at certain skill positions, given the fact that, I mean, look, DeCorian Moore is as good a wide receiver as in the country. Keelan Russell won the Elite 11 Quarterback of the Year award. Duncanville's pretty loaded on offense. I don't know how much that's saying.
Westlake Horn, thank you for the super chat. I can't believe you brought DeCorian Moore into this chat, though. Yes, and then they have Theus. They have Theus, the little slot receiver, the junior that ran 10-3. Then they have the move-in who got approved from Arlington Lamar that's got 35 offers. They are loaded on offense. And the sophomore receiver, Boobie Feaster at DeSoto has got about 35-plus offers. That doesn't mean Rod couldn't blanket cover him, but he's pretty talented. But there's a lot of offensive talent on this field. Duncanville, absolutely. Duncanville's kind of, and I was talking to a high school coach about this yesterday, they're kind of like Texas, because they have the quarterback and they can throw the ball in the intermediate game and then can do it enough down the field. But you have DeCorian Moore. How are you going to guard him? Then you have the little slot guy who's really fast. And then you have the move in who's maybe the biggest of the three receivers. They have three different receivers. Two of them are really, really fast. And then they have the size to go with it. And they have, by the way, they have a tight end that has multiple Power 4 offers. It's a junior Zach Turner. So they're Duncanville's a little bit like the Texas offense this year, which is really bad news for everybody not named North Crowley, and maybe for North Crowley too. We'll see.
All right, this is going to be Rod's favorite comment of all time. Victor Abundus, I just ordered a customized 21 Babers jersey on Fanatics. Hey, I want to know if Rod's actually going to get $1 off of that. Are you?
No, I don't need $1. I don't want $1 off it. I'm just happy somebody other than my mama and my ex-girlfriends and ex-women ordered my jersey. That's about it for me. I think my niece, ordered one too back in the day, but I appreciate that, Victor. That's family, baby. It means a lot.
Thomas often with a super chat. Thank you so much, Thomas. I didn't see a question attached. If you have one, we'll try to get to it. This from Fred the Third. It's 3:45. OU still sucks. It's 3:54. And OU still sucks. On this day in 2008, the Horns beat OU 45-35. And my nephew Joseph was born. Horns by 20. Congratulations. Hope your nephew's having a good birthday today. I actually took my nephew to this game in 2008, 16 years ago now. I took him to this game, and we literally thought Texas was down, and then 14-3, and then Jordan Shipley decided to make something else happen in that game, and then everybody else did. Earl Thomas had an interception, and then Colton McCoy and the Longhorn offense caught absolute fire. May still be the best game Greg Davis and best game plan Greg Davis has ever had as a Longhorn coach.
I don't disagree with that. Hey, here's one I wanted to hit on. Siobhan Patel, will Cam Williams be a first-round pick? And this has been a big topic on OnTexasFootball.com. We actually have a big thread right now because somebody was projecting 5 first-round picks, which I think is a bit of a stretch, but Texas could have 3 or 4. But I want to say this on Cam Williams. He's definitely – the NFL scouts love where he can go. Yeah. I think these next 2 games will absolutely be huge, Rod, in determining just where he's at the last few games of the season with NFL scouts. I'll say this. If he plays well Saturday and against Georgia, he'll be picked in the first half of the first round, in my opinion. And anybody wondering if he's going to stay or go, I've been up in Dallas going to high schools all this weekend. I was told twice if he's a first-round pick, no chance he's coming back.
We've got a hard stop here at 3:59. We got to give way to some other folks coming in here. Here is Thomas's question: which receiver will be the go-to receiver tomorrow? There always seems to be that one player who is targeted more than the others each game. I said this morning. I'd love to get your take, Rod and Jerry, but I went with Isaiah Bond, 007. What do y'all think about that?
I think with Archie it might be a little different, but Quinn likes Bond. It's probably going to be Bond. I'm with you on that. Or it would say Golden, but Golden doesn't stretch the field. Bond take shots with Bond down the field.
So I think Oklahoma's going to pay a lot of attention to Bond, and I think it's right up Matthew Golden's alley. And Quinn has the best rapport with Matthew Golden, so I could see Matthew Golden or DeAndre Moore having big games against Oklahoma. I don't think they can cover them all.
All right, last one here from Slick Rick. Is Sark having one-on-one convos with players? For example, one with Jaden Blue saying these next 2 games are your contract games. Do coaches have these convos before big games? Bobby, Jerry, your thoughts? What do you think, Rod? You've been in their locker room. Is that normal? I mean, maybe your position coach, but I don't know about your head coach. I
don't know. I don't know if the head coach. I remember before one of those Alamo Bowls, I was doing sideline work, and I remember Major going up to Marquise Goodwin. It was like, "Hey, drink your Red Bull because we go into you early enough to get hyped." And I think when I was going up against Rashawn Woods, who was a first-round pick, right receiver at Oklahoma State, Coach Akina and I would have discussions about, "Hey, they think he's going to be a first-rounder. You want to make some money tonight? Go out there and make some plays against him." That kind of thing. So I don't know if they look in that macro with draft stock and stuff, but coaches, players are aware, and so are coaches when you're going up against an elite player, and that can oftentimes benefit you if you perform to a certain level.
I got one, and I want to ask the crowd, what's your score predictions? Because we got to get out of here with some score predictions.
We've got quite a few coming in, Jerry. Got a bunch. Got a bunch coming in. All right, that's going to do it for us today, though. Before we can get out, we got to get out of here at 3:59, like I talked about. Appreciate Terry Blacks for being our host. Very gracious of them. Appreciate the co-op and 40 Acres Apparel. All three of us, Rod, you, me, and Jerry, wearing 40 Acre stuff. Also appreciate the Karat Concierge, as well as our friends at Flat Creek Estate Winery. Guys, a lot of comments coming in. 34-13 from Richard Davis. Jason Zambola, 35-13. Biggs, 42-10, Texas. All right, I love all these scores. These are all acceptable. All those. As long as Texas wearing the golden hat tomorrow, I'm in. For Rod Babers, Jerry Hamilton, as well as our producer Matt Hutchinson, this has been the Friday afternoon Longhorn live stream. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hook 'em.